How's it going? Hope you're doing great today. So there's a brand new update out for the Precinct, and it's the big one everyone's been waiting on. Update 1.910. Now, I've spent some solid time testing it, and wow, there's actually a ton to talk about. It's not just one of those small little hot fixes that tweak a few bugs and call it a day. No, this one changes the way the world feels, the way the city reacts to you, and even how you handle one of the game's most oddly satisfying features: towing cars. Yeah, I know, towing might sound boring at first, but believe me, in the Precinct, it's strangely addictive. And now it's finally smoother, smarter, and a whole lot less frustrating. So let's talk through what's new, what's fixed, and honestly what this update really does to the overall experience of being a cop in Brighton. You know how before, tow trucks were kind of hit or miss? Sometimes they'd show up on time, other times they'd get stuck in traffic, or worse, they'd just crash into random cars trying to get to you. That's gone now. The developers really overhauled how tow trucks behave. They're smarter about navigating through tight city streets. They'll actually find a path that makes sense. And you don't get that weird standoff moment where you and the tow truck driver both want the same car at the same time. They've finally fixed that issue where it felt like a tug of war over a wrecked vehicle. It's smoother, more predictable, and overall just makes the flow of your patrols feel more professional. And one of the coolest small additions, something that probably doesn't sound like a big deal until you actually use it, is the ability to request towing directly through your patrol car. Before, it was kind of clunky. You had to interact manually and wait around, sometimes even drive back to the location later. Now you just handle it through your vehicle, and it fits perfectly into the roleplay of being a city cop, managing calls and cleaning up after a chase. It gives that little sense of authority like, yeah, I've got this handled, without needing to micromanage the AI or get out of your car unnecessarily. Another thing that really stood out for me was how much love they've given to the sound design. It's one of those things you don't always notice unless it's missing, but when it's right, you feel it. They've added a proper crane drop sound effect now, and not only that, but they've beefed up the overall crane audio to make it sound way more mechanical and grounded. The city feels more alive when you can hear those small industrial noises in the background. The sirens also sound more balanced, and they fixed that annoying issue where the siren volume randomly dipped for no reason. Now it's consistent, powerful, and more immersive when you're responding to a scene. And speaking of sirens and lights, there's a cool little visual fix that I think a lot of players are going to appreciate. The ambulance lights have been changed to fully red, which makes way more sense visually, and the police light bars now always show red on the driver's side. It's a minor tweak, but visually, it's one of those things that just feels right, like the developers are really paying attention to the details that matter to people who love authenticity. Now, one of my favorite little touches from this update, and it's purely cosmetic, but I love it, is that Kelly, your character, now has proper sergeant chevrons on his sleeve and sprites. I don't know why, but that small detail just makes the uniform look more official, more lived in. It's the kind of update that reminds you this isn't some static world. The devs are genuinely improving the atmosphere and presentation piece by piece. Let's talk about the game world and mission improvements, because this is where the update really tightens things up. Remember how erratic driving incidents weren't showing on your map properly? That's been fixed, and now they appear as they should. It's a relief because it means you're not missing out on dynamic calls that make your patrols interesting. And there was that long-standing issue where, after an arrest or a chase, sometimes the helicopter awareness system got confused. It didn't always detect or react properly. That's fixed too. The helicopter AI is finally in sync with the rest of your support, and it behaves more logically during pursuits. They also tackled one of those annoying realism-breaking bugs where carjackers would try to steal towed cars. Like, come on, if a car is hooked up to a tow truck, why would anyone try to jack it? Thankfully, that nonsense is gone now. Criminal AI respects towed vehicles, so the whole system feels more believable. And when you've got suspects in cuffs, the escorting officer now properly holds them again. There used to be these awkward moments where the suspect would just float behind you like a ghost, or the officer's animation would glitch out. It was funny the first time, but immersion breaking after that. Now it looks and feels like you're actually transporting someone in custody. There's also a nice fix for mission-related interactions. Sometimes Kelly just refused to talk to NPCs when a mission required it, which could stall your progress or even force a restart. Now, he properly recognizes those interactions every time. It's one of those fixes you don't realize you needed until it's gone and everything just works like it's supposed to. Now let's get back to towing for a second, because honestly, it's a bigger deal than most players realize. Towing is one of those activities that connects everything else in the game. You respond to accidents, traffic stops, or pursuits, and towing is how you clean up after the chaos. Before this update, it was a bit unpredictable. Sometimes cars disappeared when you used tow or untow too quickly. Other times, if you tried towing multiple cars back to back, it could glitch out your tow line or cause your character to vanish for a split second. They've smoothed all that out now. Multiple car towing is stable, no weird physics freakouts, and the game handles the transitions much better. You can tell they really focused on the little stuff that makes the world more consistent too. Pathfinding for tow trucks in tight alleys, random collisions, and all those little AI tantrums seem way less common. And if you've ever had a tow truck spawn and instantly crash into traffic, it looks like that's mostly gone now. Tow trucks wait for openings, navigate around obstacles, and just generally behave like competent drivers. Another small but noticeable change is how vehicles and pedestrians interact around towing scenes. You used to get this chain reaction where traffic behind the tow truck would pile up unrealistically, but now it clears faster. It gives the impression that the AI is actually aware of the job you're doing and not just blindly following its route. Visually, the update feels cleaner. They fixed that weird junkyard blur effect, which might not sound major, but it made the whole area feel a bit off before. Now it looks crisp and the depth of field is balanced correctly. There's also been a quiet round of polish across a bunch of textures and lighting transitions. You probably won't notice all of them immediately, but the game's atmosphere feels smoother and more cinematic, especially at dusk or in rain. Now, one thing I've noticed personally is the driving feels a touch better. They adjusted the dead zone for reverse driving, and it makes your car handle more naturally when backing up. Before, it sometimes felt unresponsive, especially if you played with a controller, but now there's a better balance. You can make precise reverse maneuvers without the car jerking or oversteering. Localization updates were also part of this patch. If you're playing in a non-English language, you'll notice more accurate translations across menus, dialogue, and even street signs. It's small, but it adds to that global polish, making the Precinct feel like it's finally maturing into a more stable and international title. And of course, no update would be complete without stability improvements. There's been a noticeable drop in random crashes or mission failures. The game just feels more solid, like you can play for longer sessions without worrying about bugs derailing your progress. It's clear the developers are listening closely to community feedback too. A lot of these fixes are things players have been mentioning in forums and Discord since the last big patch, and now we're seeing them actually addressed. It's nice to see a studio that's not only pushing out updates quickly, but making sure each one meaningfully improves gameplay rather than just adding fluff. What's especially cool about this update is that it builds on the groundwork from the big tow update that came earlier in the year. That one introduced the towing mechanics properly, but this patch refines it to the point where it feels like a core feature rather than a side activity. The balance between simulation and accessibility is finally hitting that sweet spot. You can feel the difference in pacing too. When you're out on patrol, the city reacts more naturally. Calls come in with better timing, AI responds logically, and the overall sense of being part of a living, breathing police network feels more authentic than before. It's not perfect yet, of course. There are still a few moments where pathfinding or traffic AI does something weird, but compared to how it was a few months ago, it's a massive step up.